New Orleans, a city of life, of music, of celebration. But beneath the surface, there's another current, a dark energy that flows through its historic streets. At 1140 Royal Street, in the heart of the famous French Quarter, stands a monument to this darkness, the LaLaurie Mansion. It looks grand, imposing. 3 stories of Creole architecture rising above the bustling city below. Its wrought iron balconies twist like skeletal fingers, casting long, ominous shadows on the pavement. Tourists stop and stare. They feel something. A cold spot in the humid air. An unexplainable sense of dread that clings to the very bricks and mortar. This isn't just another old building. This is a place where history and horror collide. Where the past is not dead. It's not even past. To understand the evil of the mansion, you must first understand the woman who created it, Madame Delphine LaLaurie. To the public in the early 1830s, she was the pinnacle of New Orleans society. Wealthy, beautiful, and intelligent. She hosted the most lavish parties in the city. Her home on Royal Street was the center of the social universe. They saw a charming hostess, a woman of grace and refinement. They saw a pillar of their community. But what they saw was a carefully constructed lie, a mask designed to hide a monster. Behind closed doors, a different reality was unfolding. Delphine LaLaurie was a woman of immense cruelty. Her treatment of the enslaved people who served her was beyond brutal. It was sadistic. One horrifying account tells of a young enslaved girl who was brushing Madame LaLaurie's hair. When she accidentally pulled a snag, Delphine flew into a rage. The date was April 10th, 1834. A day that would forever be burned into the memory of New Orleans. A fire broke out in the mansion's kitchen. Panic erupted. Neighbors and firefighters rushed to the scene, their primary concern being the safety of the esteemed LaLaurie family. As the flames grew, they managed to get everyone out of the main residence. But as the chaos swirled, a chilling realization began to dawn on the crowd. The enslaved people who lived and worked in the house were nowhere to be seen. People started shouting, asking Madame LaLaurie where they were. Her response was cold, dismissive. She told them to mind their own business. A group of brave citizens ignored Madame LaLaurie's cold refusal. They grabbed a battering ram and smashed down the door to the slave quarters. The smoke was thick, but it wasn't just smoke they smelled. There was another scent in the air, something foul, something rotten. What the rescuers found in that attic was a scene from hell itself. It was a secret torture chamber. The smoke-filled room was a tableau of human suffering beyond all comprehension. At least 7 enslaved individuals were discovered, chained to the walls or locked in crude cages. They were starved, emaciated, their bodies bearing the marks of systematic and sadistic torture. The evidence of Madame LaLaurie's depravity was everywhere. The rescuers were hardened men, but what they saw brought them to their knees. They had broken down a door expecting to save people from a fire, but they had instead stumbled into a private abyss of human cruelty. The details of their injuries are difficult to recount, but they are essential to understanding the true evil of this place. This was not random violence. This was calculated, methodical sadism. The room was filled with instruments of torture, many of them seemingly of Madame LaLaurie's own design. The survivors were immediately carried out into the courtyard for all to see. The crowd that had gathered outside the mansion gasped in collective horror. The sight of these tortured souls, barely recognizable as human, was undeniable proof of the rumors that had circulated for years. As news of the horrific Discovery spread like wildfire through the streets of New Orleans. The shock of the citizens quickly morphed into a tidal wave of fury. A mob of thousands descended upon 1140 Royal Street. Their grief and horror had turned to righteous anger. The mob, armed with clubs and stones, began to dismantle the mansion. They smashed the ornate windows, shattered the expensive furniture, and ripped down the fine draperies. They were determined to destroy every last trace of the woman who had committed such atrocities. But while the mob was focused on destroying the physical structure, its monstrous owner was making her escape. In the confusion and chaos, Delphine LaLaurie slipped away. Some accounts say she fled to the waterfront and boarded a schooner bound for Covington, just across Lake Pontchartrain. From there, the trail goes cold. It is widely believed that she eventually made her way to Paris, France, where she lived out the rest of her days in anonymity, never facing justice for her crimes. The mansion was left a gutted, ruined shell, a monument to the mob's fury and the horrors it had once concealed. After the mob's destruction and Madame LaLaurie's escape, the mansion on Royal Street sat abandoned and in ruins for years. It became a dark landmark in the French Quarter, a place that decent people just avoided. Locals would cross the street to avoid walking past it, and parents would use its story to frighten their children into behaving. Its reputation as a cursed and haunted location began almost immediately. Neighbors started reporting strange phenomena. They claimed to hear agonizing screams and moans coming from the empty, dilapidated house late at night. Some reported seeing shadowy figures moving past the shattered windows, fleeting apparitions that would disappear as quickly as they appeared. Over the decades, several people attempted to purchase and renovate the property, hoping to erase its dark past. But every attempt ended in failure, tragedy, or financial ruin. One man who bought the house in the late 19th century was said to have gone mad within its walls, claiming the spirits of the dead would not let him rest. He was found dead under mysterious circumstances. Another business that tried to operate out of the location went bankrupt almost overnight. This pattern of misfortune created the belief that the mansion was cursed. The location became a paranormal vortex, drawing in negative energy and repelling anything positive. In 2007, actor Nicolas Cage, known for his interest in the macabre and unique properties, purchased the LaLaurie Mansion. He said he was drawn to its dark history and its status as one of America's most haunted houses. Cage believed that owning the property would be creatively inspiring. Cage never actually lived in the mansion full-time. He has stated in interviews that he found the house to be deeply unsettling. He described the energy as not good. While he didn't report any direct, terrifying encounters himself, he acknowledged the oppressive atmosphere that permeates the property. Unfortunately for Cage, the mansion's legendary curse of financial ruin seemed to hold true. Just a few years after purchasing the property, he faced severe financial difficulties and was forced to foreclose on the house in 2009. It was sold at auction, adding another chapter to the long history of owners who met with misfortune. Many paranormal enthusiasts and locals saw this as further proof of the curse. It didn't matter if you were a poor immigrant, a small business owner, or a wealthy movie star. The house did not discriminate. The house remains a private residence today, but its story, now bolstered by its brush with Hollywood, continues to fascinate and terrify people from all over the globe. Today, the LaLaurie Mansion stands as more than just a haunted house. It is a grim monument to a dark chapter in American history. It is a physical reminder of the brutal reality of slavery and the unimaginable cruelty that one human being can inflict upon another. The ghosts that are said to linger here are not just spooky legends for tourists. They are the echoes of real people who suffered and died in unimaginable agony. The ongoing paranormal claims serve as a constant voice for the victims. The disembodied screams, the rattling chains, the apparitions. These are the stories of the enslaved people who were silenced in life, now crying out from beyond the grave. In a way, the haunting of the LaLaurie Mansion is a form of justice. Since Madame LaLaurie escaped the laws of man, she and her victims are now bound together in a perpetual spiritual conflict. The house has become their eternal stage, their final resting place, and their memorial. As paranormal investigators, we are drawn to locations like this not for cheap thrills, but to seek understanding. The LaLaurie Mansion represents a vortex where extreme human emotion has created a permanent scar on the environment. A scar that allows for communication with the other side. The LaLaurie Mansion will forever be a place of dark pilgrimage. People will continue to stand before its imposing facade, feeling that unexplainable chill and wondering about the secrets held within. It is a symbol of both historical cruelty and enduring mystery. It challenges our understanding of good and evil, life and death. The house on Royal Street is a stark reminder that some evils are so profound they cannot be erased by time. They linger, they wait. And sometimes, if you listen closely in the dead of the New Orleans night, you can still hear them scream.